Hello and welcome. You're watching News9 Live. My name is Pankaj Mishra. Today we are discussing once again the contentious delimitation draft in Assam. Why it is contentious, who all are getting affected, why Congress has thrown its hat in the ring saying it is opposed to it. All this and more. We'll be discussing this with an eminent panel of guests also who would be decoding the very reason why it is pertinent that the Election Commission of India has given a draft proposal for delimitation in Assam. During a meeting that was held on Tuesday, the Election Commission had mentioned that delimitation process would be done in Assam, and that was when the actual problem started with several political parties holding protests. And the Political Affairs Committee of the Assam Pradesh Congress Committee, which met last Tuesday, has made the decision to legally challenge the Election Commission of India's draft proposal on constituency delimitation in the state. Additionally, it was agreed that the Congress would lead a delegation of like-minded parties to once again approach the Election Commission of India and voice their concerns about the process involved in rewarding the state's assembly and parliamentary constituencies. Bhupen Kumar Bora, the president of APCC, strongly criticized the actions taken by the police against protesters during a demonstration in Barak Valley, opposing the ECI's draft delimitation. The protest was led by Kamal Lakhya, the working president of Pradesh Congress Committee. Bora also condemned Assam's Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma's for his disparaging comment that Congress shops would remain closed for the next 50 years if the draft proposal for redrawing the state's constituencies was implemented. Bora expressed his displeasure with Sarma's consistent use of the term shop in relation to Congress, alleging that when Sarma was a part of the party, its principles were undermined, creating an atmosphere resembling a shop. Meanwhile, Badruddin Ajmal, the chief of All India United Democratic Front, AIUDF, threatened to approach the courts if the ECI does not abandon the current delimitation plan under consideration. Aminul Islam, the General Secretary of AIUDF and MLA, he stated that the party is carefully studying the points outlined in the draft proposal and intends to submit their objections to the ECI by July 11th. Should the draft proposal not be discarded, they will also take the legal action. An Election Commission delegation is scheduled to visit Assam in July this month to hear any objections submitted by various political parties regarding the draft proposal. The deadline for the objections to be filed is set for July 11th, which is 7 to 8 days from now. This is the latest that we are hearing as of now from Assam. The visuals on your screen obviously are from the protest that happened in Assam last week. That is on 27th of June this year, and obviously the reason also remains the same as to why the delimitation of Assam should be done or not done. Now, the release of the draft for delimitation of assembly and parliamentary seats in Assam by the Election Commission of India on June 20th has led to a war of words between the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party and the opposition. Though there is no change in the number of Assembly and Lok Sabha seats that was earlier feared, 126 in the Assembly and 14 Lok Sabha seats in Assam, that won't change. But the draft has redrawn areas of almost all constituencies, leading to much fiasco, leading to much constraints. The last delimitation exercise in Assam, remember, took place nearly 5 decades ago in 1976. Many are saying that in context with the NRC, this is important as of now to note whether the same will have some sort of bearing on delimitation as well. And obviously, for a state like Assam, which is a bordering state, it is important that these aspects are taken into consideration. We are joined by an eminent panel here. Abhinav Borbora, political analyst, joins us, and Chandra Prakash Sharma, senior journalist, also joins us. on the broadcast. Mr. Sarma, once again, thank you so much for speaking to us. Let me begin with you first, since you have seen and you have witnessed first account the changes, the kind of situation that there is in Assam as we speak. Last time when we spoke, we had one less player in the fray, and that was Congress. This time around, Congress has also jumped into the bandwagon. How do you see it, and what would Congress bring to the table in order, as far as this proposal is concerned?
Actually, Congress is the main loser because of the delimitation process that is being carried out by ECI or I must say BJP. Because Congress always patronized Bangladeshi Muslim voters. Bangladeshi influx was patronized by Congress as a vote bank. And that was the main reason that Congress ruled Assam for many decades. So when this process is being taken up as delimitation process is carrying out, the Congress will be main loser because number of seats which belong to Bangladeshi so-called minority, Bengali-speaking minority, they will become less. So Congress thinks that it will lose its vote bank and number of seats in the Assembly. And same is the case with the AIUDF Badruddin Ajmal also. He is mostly banking on the so-called doubtful voters. So definitely that's why now Congress has realized that Hindutva was never its whole plank, always played the card of minoritism. So in order to counter Congress, now BJP has brought up this majoritism Hindutva vote bank, and but it has a very different dimension also this time. It's a cocktail of regionalism and Hindutva. So regionalism and Hindutva, this is a cocktail of regionalism and Hindutva. So it's a worrisome factor for the regional political outfit like AGP and Assam Jatiya Parishad, all other regional groups.
Right. And also, if we take a look at the situation which, as of now, speaking of which, the kind of activities, the influx of the NRC, which is also making headlines. Abhinav, in your opinion, obviously, there are certain things which are politically sensitive, like this delimitation procedure altogether. There are certain things which are also the government pitches on terms of national security, pitches in terms of the rightful candidate. Do you believe that for Congress, as of now, to jump into this has also somewhat connection with its opposition to the NRC?
The first thing is that the Congress had actually taken a very mixed position regarding the NRC, with Rahul Gandhi in fact claiming credit for introducing the NRC. As the former panelist had just said, actually the way the delimitation exercise has been carried out, I think Congress as well as the AIDF would have something to lose from that exercise. I think that is also the reason that they are jumping into the protest so eagerly. Because if you look at it, I think any delimitation exercise, be it with the one carried by the current dispensation or the previous one, is not free from politics. Because if you look at the way the last delimitation exercise was carried out, again, if you minutely observe it, it was the boundaries were rearranged in a way so as to prefer or allow a consolidation to precisely those groups which were completely behind the Congress in the mid 20th century. So, but what has happened is that over the way it was carried out, I would come to the demographic part of it in a while. But the way the last exercise was carried out, it was also leading to a lot of governance issues. For example, I used to be a voter prior to this from the Dispur constituency, which is like the capital region's constituency. My constituency would have 4 lakh voters, while there would be another constituency called Thaura in Upper Assam, which would have just 1,50,000 voters. Now, if you look at the MLA LAD fund, now the MLA LAD fund is a uniform amount that is given to all MLAs, or even in a number of schemes, the number of total beneficiaries would be fixed. Say, for example, 12,000 rupees or 12,000 beneficiaries for a widow pension that we have in Assam called the Arunodaya. Now, the Dispur MLA would have to find 12,000 beneficiaries out of 4 lakh people, while the Thaura MLA would have actually a more easier day out in the field, because he needs to find 12,000 beneficiaries out of just 1 lakh people. So I think there was a very important pressing need to have the delimitation process carried out. But yes, like I have said, gerrymandering has taken place. There is a clear Muslim bias against it, because minority representation is set to become less. I'll give you an example. If you look at it in Assam, we have 2 major valleys, right? Like the Brahmaputra Valley and the Barak Valley. Now, Barak Valley is predominantly Bengali and Bengali and Muslim dominated. Now, in Barak Valley, there are 36 lakhs population as per the 2001 census. So seats have been, and there were originally 15 seats for this 36 lakh population. So now, as per the latest draft, from 15 seats, this number of seats have been reduced to 13 for 36 lakhs population. Now, compare this to the Boro areas, and the area is one area where the BJP again enjoys a very clear dominance. The total population is 31 lakh, and you have 13 seats. So if you can see, if you have to go into the nitty-gritties of why there are protests taking place and the sites where the protests are taking place, I think even till last night, the entire Congress top brass was in Barak Valley, because there are protests erupting because of the way the seats have been curtailed. Like I said, 36 lakhs people, there were 15 seats, have been reduced to 13. Or even there are other seats, like for example in Lower Assam there would be a prestigious seat called the Borpeta constituency. So what has happened in Borpeta constituency was that it would be a constituency that would be strongly dominated, where Muslim voters would play a decisive role. But this time what has happened is that seat has been turned into an SC seat. So while the Muslim voice has received the dent, but at the same time, if you look at it, scheduled tribes and scheduled caste representation would be increasing as a result of this delimitation.
Right.
Over to you.
Right. Mr. Sarma, how does the Chief Minister, Himanta Biswa Sarma, feel about this draft?
Himanta Biswa Sarma is definitely happy about this draft, because he has said recently that this is a entry door for the closed seats of Assam. As you know that people of Assam are constantly demanding reservation of assembly seats and in government jobs, 80% or 100%, whatever may be the case. So Himanta Biswa Sarma, as he knows that he's actually the state government and union home ministry is sitting over the reports submitted to implement the Clause 6 by Justice Biplab Sharma committee. So they could not do anything much in that regard. So there was definitely a resentment against this government in the regional groups. Now Mr. Sharma is saying that this is a step towards ensuring safeguard to the people of Assam, especially the ethnic group. So accordingly, BTR chief Pramod Boro also claimed that this will ensure protection of the rights of the ethnic groups. So I don't think that he's unhappy over this, because he earlier also in the last talk show I said that he's a caste pessimist. He's a Brahmin by caste. So in a state where tribal population, especially the Assamese ethnic groups, dominate the politics of Assam, other than the Muslim groups and the Bengali Hindus. So mostly he's trying to impress upon them that he is more regional than other regionalistic than the regional political outfits, and he is there to protect the interest of the Assamese.
That he has mentioned, yes. We are also joined by Mohammad Amin, former Joint Director in Election Commission of India. Well, welcome to the show, Mr. Amin. To begin with, what are the primary reasons, in your opinion, for the Election Commission of India for publishing this draft of delimitation of the constituencies in Assam?
Thank you very much for the TV9. You have asked me for the clearance about this. But be sure that the report is submitted by the Election Commission of India as a draft report. And I think everybody and every party has to welcome this, as per the BJP has already welcomed this draft note was submitted by the commission. And in this, I don't know why they have only they have the change of the one parliamentary constituency, that is the Kaziranga. And you see, they have given the SC, SC and Bodo land also. They have given the draft note, some seats reservation. So, and nothing is changed in heavy change. And as per you, the right things are submitted by the People Commission, and the Commission has also given the opportunity on the 11th July. They asked to meet their Commission anytime, and they have all parties welcome their suggestions and whatever they had. And I don't know why they have about the ethnic group and other group and about the minority and others. It is the usual, as a usual process in every parliamentary constituency and every assembly. The commission is the usual practice for everyone, for every state and every constituency. I don't know why only 3 seats is for SC and ST. I don't know, 16 to 19, and this is the things only. I don't know why they have hue and cry about that. If any suggestion is there, the election commission is going to welcome it. And they have to change it if anything is important from their side. Is it?
Also, yes, indeed, Mr. Amin. Also, so how does the Election Commission of India actually plan to gather the feedback and public opinion on the draft proposal?
You know that they have already given the 11th July, they are welcoming all parties if you have any suggestion there. And this is the publishing of the draft note means welcome from all corners, all parties and all any group is society or any objection is there. So they have to revamp for that. And you know, this is the 2026, we have the census. So not before we have to do any changes in the parliamentary constituency or assembly constituency. This is just a reservation for scheduled tribes and scheduled castes and the borderline council. Is it?
And any mechanism for public consultations also, sir?
No, only one seat is for the, I'm telling you that for the Kaziranga they have changed the name. For the parliamentary constituency. What is the difference between changing the name? That is very well known in the world famous. Kaziranga is the word century. And so that's why this is good for everyone. Everybody has to recognize it. I don't know what their views are there. I'm not sure what they want exactly. And they are blaming to the government. You know, the government has no role in case of the election commission, of the election, after the notification, before the notification. So these are things that are very normal things. I don't know. First, let's see if they are submitting any objections. If election commission is not going to welcome it, so there another door is there. For the Supreme Court, they can go for challenge there. Yeah.
Right. And also, Mr. Amin, since you have seen, these things very closely, you have been the joint director of the Election Commission of India. In such a situation, sir, in your opinion, what are the potential impacts that could have or that could be seen with the redrawing of constituencies on the political landscape and on the other hand, the social landscape?
No, this is always done by all parties. If they are in the power, they welcome. If they are not in power, they have to hue and cry about that. But the Election Commission is doing free and fair poll, free and fair delimitations, and I don't know why they have this type of vices, these different vices.
So why this kind of opposition? Mr. Amin, if I can be the devil's advocate here, I wanted to put one question straight to you. There are often voices, and this time around too, that Election Commission, many say, of course the opposition says, that is a tool in the hand of the ruling party. Is that correct?
I'm not sure actually. I was there in the Election Commission. I have not heard anything about when we start the model code of conduct. We are not going to hear even Chief Minister. At the time of the parliamentary election, we cannot hear to the Prime Minister also. And before that also, that they cannot interfere in our working of the Election Commission of India. No one can enter. Just we have seen. Just there was a selection for the Commissioner of Election Commission. So this time, so the Supreme Court has also intervened that, and they have given the judgment about the filling of the post of the commissioners. means the Prime Minister of India and one opposition leader and the Supreme Court Chief Justice must be there for the selection body. So I'm not sure that where they can. I don't know.
All right. Mr. Amin, if you could then please stay with us. We are also joined by Abhinav Borbora and Chandra Prakash Sarma. Both of them have their connect with Assam. And Abhinav, now Mr. Amin has very categorically and very in uncertain terms has clarified, and that's what the mission and the plan of action of Election Commission is, which is clearly drawn. There is no doubt about it. In your opinion, Abhinav, what is, there are constituencies like Jalukbari, where a significant amount of new voters would be added to it. So, do you believe that for Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, he would have a different sort of campaign or plan to attend to these constituencies, given the elections are 3 years away from here?
I think with the entry of any additional electorate, depending on the social profile of the constituents, you will have to tailor your campaign. At this point, I would also like to just underscore something that Mr. Amin had also said, because even I was also thinking about it. Apart from the Muslim seats or the seats involving the Muslim demography, if you actually see the way the EC has redrawn the constituencies is actually very much in line with the 2007 draft that was prepared because for the same purpose. I have with me a copy. If you can see, this is the 2007 draft. Now, if you look at it and if you read the 2007 draft with the 2023 draft, where the major changes have taken place is primarily with regard to many of the areas where Muslims are in a more consolidated fashion. But apart from that, a lot of demands that we are talking about for redrawing the boundaries have been much in line with long stated pressures put on by a lot of social groups. Like, for example, if you look at it in Upper Assam right now, when we go through headlines, we would come across the fact that the Ahums, which are a very powerful social group in Assam, are protesting. But you would also have to see that one of the reasons that they are protesting is because there is another seat that has been created out of the existing number of seats called Makum. Now, Makum is a seat which was demanded by the Morong Motok community for many decades now. Similarly, if you look at it in the hill districts of Karbi Anglong, there have been an additional seat has been increased. Now, remember, the Karbis were the ones who had in the 80s demanded for again a separate state from Assam. They also had a separate state demand in the 1980s. Similarly, with regard to the Boros, mark my words, 2 additional seats have been increased. So, if you look at it, when it comes to representing ethnic groups, non-Muslim ethnic groups, you can see that I think in some way there has been a more diversification as well as a deepening of representation. However, again, I have been flagging it out from the beginning that if you start reading the draft minutely specifically with regard to the Muslim question, you would find that in a very subtle way, their representation has definitely been curtailed. Here again, I would like to go back to what Mr. Amin had said. He talked about the Kaziranga constituency, and he says that it's merely a change of the name of the constituency. Yes, largely. But if you go through the assembly segments, if you look at it cursorily, you'd find that yes, nothing has been changed. But then a minute reading would reveal that not a major change has been made. But crucially, there was the Botodroba assembly segment inside the erstwhile Kaziranga constituency. Now, Botodroba is a Muslim-dominated constituency where even in the last election, where the BJP swept, the Botodroba seat went to the Congress by a margin of almost 40,000 votes. Now, very cleverly, while most of the other assembly segments have been kept intact into the Kaziranga constituency, as it were, Botodroba has, however, been removed. Now, removing as crucial a seat like the Botodroba for the Muslims means that whoever is the BJP candidate actually enters into an advantage by almost 30 to 40,000 votes. So we would have to acknowledge that there has been ideology in place, there has been gerrymandering in place, but again, I think I would also like to limit such a lens to largely the Muslim question, and also consider that there was a genuine demand for redrawing boundaries so far as the other seats are also concerned.
Right. Appreciate, Abhinav, your understanding and also taking us back to the 2007 draft also. Much appreciated. Stay with us. Chandraprakash ji, the situation as of now, if we talk about what's happening in Assam, we are gathering that the protests against the delimitation draft have resumed in Sonapur. Who are these protesting voices? Are they just the political parties from AIUDF, maybe Congress now, TMC, or is it some section of the society also which is not in favor of it?
Mr. Ji, I had a conversation with lots of ethnic leaders and people in general. I don't see any dissatisfaction over this delimitation process so far. Those who are objecting to this process are mainly the political groups or some of the groups, some of the political leaders from across the spectrum. There are some BJP members also. They are objecting to because as in case of Lahore, some constituency will cease to exist because of this process, and they are objecting to this because they will have to find a new constituency for themselves, or they might not get any constituency in the future.
Right, Chandraprakash, sorry, I'm stopping you here. I'm so sorry. There seems to be some issue with the internet, but we will fix that. But before that, let's listen into some voices, as Chandraprakash was also mentioning, the common people, what they have to say from Assam on delimitation. And then we quickly fix the line with Mr. Sarma.
मुद्दा यही है कि हम लोग का ये समष्टि 1957 में इस्टेब्लिश हुआ था और उस टाइम से एक ना एक महत्वपूर्ण समष्टि है लाहौल समष्टि, लेकिन ये विधानसभा का ये क्या लोगों का निर्वाचन आयोग का क्या मिला कि लाहौल समष्टि को लोग घटाकर इसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में घटा दिया है। कंस्टिट्यूंसी का डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जो ही नहीं था वहाँ पे बढ़ा दिया गया है। और ये लाहौल समष्टि का जो वोटर लोग का अभी तक मालूम नहीं है कि क्यों ये घटा दिया है और घटाने के कोई कारण होना चाहिए था।
माकूम तो देखने से अब लगता है जो तिनसी का जो शहर है उस शहर के सामने माकूम है और लगभग माकूम से कोई डिस्टेंस ऐसे नहीं है बोल नहीं सकता है। और सरकार ने उसको किस तरह से बनाने के लिए माकूम समष्टि बनाने के लिए किस तरह से डिसीजन लिया है वो हमारा लाहौल समष्टि के वोटर लोग का और लाहौल समष्टि के जनसंख्या से भी बहुत अलग है बोलने खुजता है। लेकिन किस तरफ से इलेक्शन कमिश्नर और असम के मुख्यमंत्री शर्मा जी व नरेंद्र मोदी का सरकार के जो नीति नियम हम लोग कोई समझ में नहीं आता है, यहाँ लाहौल वासी का कोई समझ में नहीं आता है। तत्काल से उन लोग डिसीजन लिया है और लाहौल समष्टि उठ गया है। नया से तिनसिका में एक तो नया माकूम समष्टि बनाने के लिए जो सिद्धांत तो लिया है उस तरफ से हम लोग दुखी हो रहा है।
तो एक रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहेंगे कि जो निर्वाचन आयोग के के लिए जो हम लोग का जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है बहाल रखे और हम लोग का जो न्यायिक हम लोग का जो वाइपो है हम लोग का जो दावी है उनको अच्छे से रखें।
Right, there we heard the voices, I would say, of discontent when it comes to this draft proposal of Election Commission. Abhinav, yes, you want to make a point. Quickly go ahead.
Going through the footage, and if you see the person in the footage was talking about the Makum constituency, something that I had also mentioned.
Yes,
now, if you look at it, what is interesting is that if you look at even the person who was speaking, I'm sure if I can make out correctly, he was from the tea garden community. Now, in Upper Assam with Tinsukia and a few other seats in that belt, the tea garden community enjoys a disproportionately strong influence when it comes to elections. Now, as such, I think if you look at you wanted to know why there is this content, because the moment you create a Makum constituency, the way the constituency has been drafted, it actually dents the kind of consolidated influence of the tea garden community and allows representation to the Moran Motor community, which is like a minority ethnic community.
Right.
So as a result, if you look at it, we can automatically find sense in the way the protests are fanning out so far, and because Lahual and Makum, and like I said, Makum was a long-standing demand for a community which in a way does not have even a single seat that they can actually have an undisputed representation of. So I think again we're going into the nitty-gritties of the protests, and this is how we can make sense of it.
Right. Mr. Sharma, good to have you back once again. But before that, I wanted to take a very quick question from Mr. Amin. Mr. Amin, 1952, 1962, 1972, all these panels were set up, then finally came in 1976, which was suspended due to family planning program, if we go back in the history. And before the exercise of the next panel could be completed in 2008, the delimitation of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur and Nagaland was deferred to because of security risks. What are the factors that the Election Commission generally keeps in mind when they are framing a draft proposal or planning for delimitation in states with such importance, which are border states?
Always I am telling you about the Election Commission view. Always the Election Commission has their own view about the own voters. Country, citizen and voters, they have all in their mind. There is no caste and creed, and there is no any malpractices done. Actually, they are why, who and cry. These are the political parties, so they have their own agenda. So as per their own agenda, we cannot do anything for them. Just we are doing for the voters, voter facilities and voters voting. Easily they can vote to the at the time of the voting. They can reach to the polling stations at that time. At each and everything in their mind. Not if they are the hilly area, so they have the try to be near the plain area and in the hill area as their situation is there. So always we are doing as per the voters' facilities and their benefits of the voters. Actually, the voters are the country's voters. They are doing for the country at the time of the election. They are doing the votes. We are not doing as per the party's facilities. We are doing for our voters' facilities. This is always in the mind. And there is no Hindu, Muslim, or the Christian or the Sikh. Voters are the voters. So there is nothing in the mind of the Election Commission. Election Commission is doing the honestly for the public of the India.
Yes, and has been doing it for so long time also. Right, Mr. Chandraprakash Sharma, your take on what Mr. Mohammad Amin is saying?
Actually, I would say that we must congratulate EC and DCI for taking into account the concern of the people of Assam, especially the ethnic group.
Right.
Those who are objecting to this process, as you said in case of Lahowal, I must say that definitely they have an emotional touch with their constituency, and as the Lahowal will cease to exist from after this delimitation process, so definitely we can understand their emotions. But the larger question is that of the concern and security of the people of Assam. They were always fearful of the fact that they will lose Assam as the Tripuri people lost their rule in Tripura to Bengali-speaking people, those who came over to Tripura from across the country, especially from the Bangladesh. So there was unabated and continued influx in Assam. Especially it increased after 1971, and Congress promoted it just to create a vote bank. So EC and DCI, when took up this delimitation process, it took into account the concern of the people of Assam. Now 102 assembly seats will be dominated by the ethnic group or ethnic people. So in a sense, EC has delayed the inevitability of Assam being ruled by the doubtful voters, those who were refugee, came as a refugee in Assam, and now they want to rule Assam on the strength of their sheer number. So it's a population war which was going against the Assamese people. EC intervened, and definitely this is not a permanent solution. People of Assam know that this is not the permanent solution, but definitely they will get some time to make things right, set things right in the future. I feel.
Right, Abhinav, your take on it, the bigger picture, if we take a look at it, how is it going to pan out, and what is the general perception, the acceptance level?
I think the general perception, and including me, is that this was an exercise that was urgently required because it was pending for a long time. Since I have been giving examples, let me just give one final example. In Assam, as you know, there are two banks. There's the North Bank, and then separated by the mighty Brahmaputra, you have the South Bank. Now, in the North Bank, you have the Lokhimpur Lok Sabha constituency. Now, when the constituency boundaries were redrawn last time, what happened was that in the Lokhimpur Lok Sabha constituency, you had an assembly segment called Chabua, which was in the South Bank. Now, the bridge that is connecting both the banks of the Brahmaputra has been in that region was inaugurated only in 2017. Before that, an MP of the Lokhimpur Lok Sabha constituency had to travel for 150 miles, 150 kilometers to be to the other part of his constituency crossing the Brahmaputra. So you can understand that it was jumbled up. And that is the reason why I feel that streamlining has been very important. Having said that, however, I would say whatever the other panelists have said, I would, however, see that we should also view the delimitation exercise with some amount of caution so far as the religious minorities are concerned. Primarily, I'm talking about the Muslim representation, because Muslim representation has certainly fallen behind as a result of this. And just to claim that all Muslims are illegal migrants, I think that would be stretching the case a bit too far. So I think we need to exercise caution with regard to that.
Right. Mr. Muhammad Amin, if you are there with us, one final word from you, sir. What would be your advice to the people as of now and to the Muslim community in general, if I could, simply put it that way, who are afraid, who are fearing that their interests, their leadership would face a jolt because of the delimitation, their seats could, be impacted. What would be your message to them?
I don't know where they were sleeping when the commission has visited their Assam. Complete commission has gone to see and meet the public of the Assam in the different societies, committees and parties. So that at that time they want to listen it face to face. I don't know where their leader was there, and after the draft note is published, then they have the hue and cry. I'm not sure. And never election commission take any caste and creed or any other any doubt for that. Everything is in the black and white, and everything the public domain. And as per the, everything is on nowadays, everything on the digital things. So draft is also there. So if still they have the chance, and I'm telling the public, if still they have the chance, they can meet to the election commission with their objections. I'm sure if anything is really done the wrong thing, they clear it, and the draft is going to correct it. But I'm sure before the exercise is done, election commission, everything is in their minds. And this is the only agenda of the Muslims and the Hindus and other things are creating this time. But first time I've seen in this Assam, they are having this problem. Never we have faced this type of any problem in other states. It's smoothly done. And the parliament election is there on 24th is there. So we are preparing for that. So we need everything in line and proper things. Now I can take a leave, please.
Right. Mr. Amin, please stay with us. We are also joined by Abhijit Majumdar, a political analyst. Abhijit, your take on it. And as Mr. Muhammad Amin is mentioning, Election Commission is just doing its job. Abhijit?
Election Commission is so hardy that last television first is 1956 and then is basics of 2001 and one thing is that some question like that election commissioner the favor of our and that thing that future policy is
Abhijit ji, sorry, I'm stopping you here. Looks like some connection issue here. I would request you if you can step out in an open area. I'm so sorry for this inconvenience, but Abhinav, before we get Mr. Majumdar's audio fixed, your understanding, as Mr. Sarma was also mentioning, that most of the SMEs people who are welcoming the decision, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa speaks of the real SMEs people and their rights. What does he mean when he speaks of the real SMEs people? Is this minus those who have come from other states, or again the NRC scanner is still on? You'll have to unmute yourself, Abhinav.
Can you repeat the question? There's some issue with the network, I guess.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was saying when Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister, says that the decision, the move is going to help the SMEs people and it will take the real SMEs people. He stressed upon the SMEs word. How do we read into that?
See, currently, if we go back to history, the way subnationalists had defined the word SMEs would be a much more narrower definition, because it would only largely include the SME speaking people. But since the Chief Minister is also the senior leader of the BJP, I think BJP's definition is somewhat more inclusive, but again, it falls short of including the Muslims. So if you look at it, and as our foregoing discussion has also shown, the way the boundaries have been redrawn, we can be very assured that this would inevitably give a Hindu, it would inevitably help the Hindus consolidate politically in Assam, and it would be drastically reducing Muslim representation. So in that light, I think we can see that this exercise, what it does is that at one level, it manages to satisfy according representation to a diversity of ethnic groups, but also by way of doing it, it also guarantees a Hindu consolidation, a Hindu majority in Assam's politics. Now, this, however, is something that I have been saying we need to take with a lot of caution.
And Chandraprakash ji, what is your take on the current stand of the BJP and the Chief Minister Himanta on the matter?
You're asking me?
Yes, Chandraprakash ji.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you please repeat the question?
No, as Abhinav was shedding light on, why Chief Minister Himanta would be stressing on the SMEs part of it. In his speeches also he has mentioned. So your take basically on Chief Minister's stand and the vision through this delimitation process towards the future days of Assam.
As I earlier said, that Himanta is a very shrewd politician, I would say, and he knows the real fear of SMEs people. Because of the unabated and continued influx from across the country, especially from Bangladesh, there is every possibility that SMEs in the next few years will reduce to a minority in their own state. Especially you see in 2011, the last census was done in 2011. At that time, SMEs speaking people were 48% of the total population. Since then, no census process has been taken up so far. So in 2026, again, when the census will take place, I think the ratio of SMEs people will further come down, SMEs speaking people. So there is a genuine fear among the SMEs people that those who came as a refugee in Assam might rule Assam in the future, like in Tripura. So Himanta Biswa Sarma is addressing the issue from the Assamese perspective. Although there is a cocktail of Assamese regionalism and Hindutva So it's a cocktail which we want to present before the 2024 Lok Sabha election, because UCC is not going to be a big issue in Assam, I think.
Okay, so UCC is not going to be a big issue, and obviously the take of the Chief Minister, what he intends, also what the Election Commission thinks of this delimitation process as one of the many steps that the Commission takes in order to keep attending to the needs of the growing population of any particular state, not just northeastern part, not just Jammu and Kashmir, but other parts of the country as well. Mohammad Amin, thank you so much. Abhinav, Abhijit Majumdar and Chandraprakash Sharma for taking time out. Always a pleasure to speak to all of you. And as I generally mention that to understand the in-depth intricacies of any particular subject, it is best to let the honorable guests throw the light and on it, and the way to understand any particular matter is obviously from the horse's mouth as well, and that's what News9 Plus does, to bring you the news from where it is originating, from where it matters the most. Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching. News and updates continue on News9 Plus.
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.
When you enter capital cities of some of the biggest countries in the world, you don't have 3 garbage mountains waiting to welcome you, depending on whichever side of the city you enter from.
The thing is that a lot of times we talk about landfills only when there's a fire at the landfill. You need to understand that a landfill is at fire almost throughout the year. It's only when the firefighters are not able to douse the fire is when it actually catches the nation's attention, the city's attention, or media attention.
The towering landfills worsen one of Delhi's biggest problems: pollution.
यहाँ पर आप रात को आओ, दिन में आओ, आप 1 घंटे बैठ नहीं सकते बाहर। इतनी धूल, प्रदूषण, महक, आप खाना भी नहीं खा सकते बाहर बैठ के।
Life around the landfill is a curse.
हमारे घर में जो बड़े हैं उन्हें अस्थमा के वो पेशेंट है, आए दिन उनको नेबुलाइजर लगाना पड़ता है।
डॉक्टर ने मुझे ये चीज बोला कि यहाँ का एरिया छोड़ के कहीं और चाहिए।
Delhi's garbage mountains are now a fetid symbol of the national capital's trash problem. The question is, who is to be blamed? Watch Delhi's Garbage Mountains. Streaming on News9 Plus for the Genflix.
To me, Kamal Haasan is the Marlon Brando of the Indian cinema. He is on par with any actor, any cinema person across the world.
People know him as a gigantic movie star for the last 30-40 years.
So Ulaga Nayagan, or the universal hero, is back where he belongs, ruling the box office. And He has a powerful lineup of big budget films ahead of him, including Indian 2 with Shankar and the much awaited collaboration with Rajinikanth for Maniratnam KH 234 as it's being titled as of now. But will all the success in the film world translate into success for his political ambitions? Well, that is an extremely difficult question to answer.
It's very difficult, again, to put both political and an entertainment platform on the, together.
I think cinema and politics are two different ballgames. People of Tamil Nadu are very clear. They choose their political leader only with their ideologies and all those things. I really don't know how well this will, movies and politics would connect.
He was a great cinema person, whether it is direction or even singing. But then politics is a different cup of tea. A film star before the cameras of the electoral politics may not really click.
In the state of Tamil Nadu, it is a long, arduous journey. You may be a superstar. You may be a supreme star. You may have fans screaming at you. You may have any number of fans, millions of fans. But when it comes to politics, unless you spell out what is your ideology, what is your vision for the state of Tamil Nadu, unless you spell out what you stand for, you will not be able to do anything in the state of Tamil Nadu.
By May 2021, Kamal was nowhere. He was a washout in terms of a movie star. He was in political obscurity, so to speak, and it was all over. And it was the pandemic, and it was the era of lockdowns. In the darkness of the lockdowns, that's where Kamal cooked up his comeback plan. So Kamal calls Lokesh Kanagaraj and asks him to narrate a movie script to him. Lokesh narrates something to him, Kamal changes it around and then introduces a story that he had in mind 36 years ago to make. A story which at that point of time, Kamal Haasan was told was too ahead of its time. And that was Vikram.
We are very touched by the hospitality of citizens in Srinagar.
जम्मू कश्मीर भारत से सबसे ज्यादा विकास होने वाला स्टेट है।
It will take another 95 years to explore Kashmir.
Kashmir has moved on, the common man has moved on.
The third G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Srinagar from 22nd to 24th May 2023 was a roaring success. The meeting highlighted the city's ability to host global events effectively.
People are happy the government has taken a decision to bring such an important international event like the G20 into Srinagar, into the capital of Jammu and Kashmir. And I think that is the sort of change that can be a game changer in terms of the way the world perceives Jammu and Kashmir. The world looks at the potential true potential of Jammu and Kashmir.
जम्मू कश्मीर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का जो रेवेन्यू है, जो जीडीपी है, टूरिज्म के से 7% आया है। हमारा स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का इच्छा है एक साल के अंदर वो 15% कैसा हो जीडीपी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू, आने वाले दिन में 20% कैसा बढ़े स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू, क्योंकि जम्मू कश्मीर इतना पोटेंशियल है टूरिज्म का। आज जितने भी टूरिज्म के G20 वर्किंग ग्रुप के डेलीगेट्स लगभग 28 कंट्रीज से आए, 28 एक्सेप्ट चाइना, सब कंट्रीज का पार्टिसिपेशन है। वो लोग इतना जम्मू कश्मीर देखने के बाद, श्रीनगर देखने के बाद वो कुछ ताजीब हो रहे हैं। इतने सुंदर श्रीनगर हम कभी कल्पना भी नहीं किए थे, इतना बढ़िया श्रीनगर भारत में है।
The The G20 meet in Srinagar marked a turning point for tourism in Kashmir, with delegates from around the world witnessing its beauty. Kashmir's transformation into a global tourist destination took center stage, overpowering the dark shadows of terrorism that once plagued the region.
It's difficult to find a tourist destination so rich and so with so many possibilities as Kashmir.
We discovered the beauty of the Kashmir, the Dal Lake and mountains, and also the rich cultures.
इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं क्योंकि सभी लोग कर रहे हैं.
Coaching is now starting from grade 3, 4, 5, 6.
कोटा जाने वाली बीच राह में आधे टेस्ट देके हैं सिलेक्शन की चाह में.
ऑल इंडिया का बच्चा कोटा जाता है.
This rat race is for rats, not for humans. So why should we even be a part of it?
The Rat Race. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Europe's deadliest war since 1945.
बाहर सायरन्स बजने लग गए थे.
Citizens homeless in their own country.
वो लिटरली हमको धक्का मार के बाहर फेंक रहे थे कि तुम लोग अलाउड नहीं हो.
22,500 Indian students in the line of fire.
डर हर सेकंड बना रहता था. नॉर्मली एक इंसान अगर उठता है तो अलार्म से उठता है. हमारा अलार्म तो था ही बॉम्ब.
India steps in with an air bridge.
After the military operations began on the 24th of February, there was a crisis management summit level group personally headed by the Prime Minister, and within a day of the military operation starting, the first of the evacuation flights had actually already started.
No Indian left behind.
बहुत गर्व हुआ मैं भारत में अपने. वो भी चाह के पाकिस्तान के जो बच्चे के वो कह रहे कि काश हमारा प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी होता.
Welcome back to the motherland.
Watch Airlift, the inside story of Operation Ganga on News9 Plus for the Genflix.
Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into News9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi and today we bring you a very compelling story. A compelling story from Afghanistan that sheds light on the devastating impact of the Taliban's rule on education, particularly for girls. Now, in a country where 3 million girls are denied the opportunity to continue their education, the balance is that of 300 children, and it hangs with no certain expectations of what's going to happen with their future. Now, with expert voices, we're going to delve into the crucial issue of preserving access to education for girls. As we explore why the Taliban is staunchly against women's education, we will also uncover India's significant influence in Afghanistan and the challenges faced by this particular school that we're going to show you in this documentary snippet that's coming up next, that is at the forefront of providing education to young Afghan students. Now stay tuned, get down in the comment section as much as you can, help us understand what is going on in your mind when you're looking at not just these 3 million, but the 130 million girl students that are denied education globally. As we take you on this journey to understand the impact of Taliban's rule, the resilience of those fighting for education, and the potential consequences for the future of these children. This is an important story, ladies and gentlemen, that needs our attention. So join us as we shine a light on the struggles, the hopes, and the determination in the face of adversity. I welcome you to today's show, Taliban, the fight for education in Afghanistan. But before we open this discussion, expand the aspects of this discussion, bring in more perspectives, take a look at this documentary that we've put out for all the viewers out there. You can catch this documentary called Taliban, the fight for education in Afghanistan, only on our OTT platform. It's called News9 Plus. It's the world's first news OTT platform. It's available on the Google App Store. It's available on the Apple iOS software as well. Download that. Before we move on, really expand this discussion, we've got some expert voices, some really crucial voices of the key stakeholders here. Take a look at this documentary snippet and we'll come back for more.
Can you imagine it? How a country can develop without education? If I don't get education, if any girl in Afghanistan don't get education, so how our next generation would be well-mannered?
It's very tough to not study, to not go to school, to not go to university.